I'm hanging at the Moondog, and my man BJ Thomas is here with me. How are you, sir?
I'm
so good to see you again.
Good seeing you, buddy.
You were at the Moondog about 7 years ago, and it was quite a fun year with, who was here that year? Peter and Gordon. And
yeah, I remember Peter and Gordon, especially getting a chance to talk to them, and I always admired them from back in the day, and the McCartney song they did, and just
that's right,
they were cool.
And a whole bunch of people that were here, but of course you were here, and you obviously not the first time you played Cleveland.
No.
So do you have any Cleveland memories, or do you remember?
Well, I used to be signed. I had Old Fashioned Love and New Looks from an Old Lover, and something else on Cleveland International with Mr. Popovich. And so I've got good memories of Cleveland and good feelings about Cleveland.
The thing that I love is that you have had a very successful career in 3 different genres. Your pop career originally, a country career shortly after that, and then in Christian music as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I had I won 5 Grammys in gospel music.
Yeah,
I had the first platinum records, and just a lot of things happened there that were totally a surprise to me.
You're in the Country Music Hall of Fame, correct?
No.
Not yet?
No Hall of Fame.
Oh, we got to get you in the Rock Hall of Fame. Maybe
hey, I'd love that, but hey.
At least make you a member of the Grand Ole Opry.
Well, I've been a member since '82, so I do the Opry 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 times a year, and those are all my dad's heroes, and so I love to go around there and see those guys. Of course, now it's Vince and kind of even newer, even the more current guys. So it's
even Carrie Underwood, I think, is part of
absolutely
Opry. So
but it's not necessarily a career move, but you just do it because of the tradition and just the respect and just being able to say that you're a member of the Opry. So.
And of course we go back to the pop stuff and what we play on Majic, and we play Hooked on a Feeling a lot. And I had a question I always wanted to ask you. How did you ever feel about the remake of it and the Ooga Chaka stuff? Did you like that, or not so much?
You want me to tell you the truth?
Yeah, tell me honest truth. Statute of limitations is run out, so you can say whatever you want.
I can honestly say that I never had any negative reaction to that. I didn't. The one thing, I didn't write Hooked on a Feeling, so if I'd have written it, I probably would have been as happy as Mark James is that they did it, because it was just recently, just recently in the Galaxy movie, whatever that was. But I always thought, that's a great production idea. They took that Ooga Chugga thing from Running Bear and the old record Running Bear, and because if they'd have tried to duplicate that Reggie Young sitar ride,
it would have been too hard.
They couldn't have done it. So I always respected them for it and thought it was a good record.
Yeah,
and it's proven itself.
A lot of purists tell me they'd much rather hear yours.
Oh,
so.
well, yeah. Well, me too. I think I'm not. Even though I've covered, just years later after some people had the records. Like we were just talking about, "Don't Worry, Baby," and of course
one of my favorites.
My first hit was "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry," the Hank Williams thing. This cover on Hooked was a little quick. I mean, it was like it was 3 years after I had it, so. I had some feelings about it, but I never really had any negative feelings about it. It has more power to them,
I was reading about Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, and I read a quote from you saying that one wasn't really well accepted at first when it first came out, because it came out before the movie, right?
Yeah, that's right. When we were doing the session, I just, you always hope that what you're doing is going to be successful, and I just knew it was going to be great, because it was the Burt Bacharach, Hal David thing, and Paul Newman and all those things were going for it. But when it came out, they had an early review of the movie in Life magazine, and of course I couldn't wait for it to come out, and I got the book, and they said, "Hey, worst song Bacharach and David have ever written. It should be on the cutting room floor," and it just barely was selling until the movie came out, and Butch Cassidy was such a good movie.
Sure,
it really was one of the best westerns of all time. And when the movie hit at Christmas time, '69, well, that thing took off,
and you're in it, because it goes well in your own part.
Yeah, I'll never forget doing the first version for the bicycle scene, and I had laryngitis.
Really?
Yeah, I had laryngitis. I could barely talk, and it wasn't like it was a situation that where I wasn't going to show up. I was going to show up to see you know, and see if I could make it. And Bert was a little, you know, Mr. Bacharach was a little upset with me for coming in bad shape. But somehow, you know, that bicycle scene version was just a guitar, banjo, and stand-up bass.
Yeah.
And kind of me being a little hoarse sounded right. So,
There you go.
So, you know,
Perfect.
You know, got lucky.
And I hear stories like that all the time in rock and roll.
And we recut it about 6 weeks later.
Right.
You know, for the hit single.
Just long enough for the laryngitis.
Yeah,
to
I was
dissipate
in
and all
shape,
that.
yeah.
Sure. And listen, you've had such a long career. I always ask people that have been doing this for as long as you have, and still sound great. You know, what is the key? What's the secret to actually having long success in this business?
Well, you know, as far as still being around and still kind of feeling like I can still sing, you know, I think it comes down to we have to, those of us that kind of quit smoking early and who stayed married. You know, I have a wonderful wife and a great family.
And I read she stuck with you through a lot.
She, you know, how she ever got through all that, I don't know. But she could always see me for who I was and not, you know, not necessarily who I thought I was.
Right.
And so she was a saving grace for me. And you know, I got, you know, I was kind of up and down, but I eventually got.
It's an inspirational story. You should read about that part of it. I don't want to get into all of that here, but
I know,
really,
yeah, no, I'm not gonna go
see,
there.
but you know, but seriously, that's a pretty inspirational thing to be married that long in this business, especially with the trappings of the business getting to you occasionally and things like that. So
yeah, well, you know, those addictions and all the isms. A lot of the people from my generation, and they didn't make it through, and I'm just one of the lucky guys that made it through. And now, you know, I just try to spend as much time as I can with the family. I try to get enough sleep and eat right, and I'll be okay.
There you go. Yeah, I can see actually. Where's
Yeah,
the food? They didn't bring the good food in here
Look
for
at all
you.
those Cokes. So
I know.
I don't drink Coke anymore.
Listen, I'm glad that you're still around. I'm glad you're still doing shows like ours and Moondog. Second time around for you, my friend, BJ Thomas, my buddy.
Yes, sir.
Right here, Moondog 2015.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah.